What happens in the greater US dollar network? We're seeing it right now. If you go against the fiat system, you are taken out. That's what happens all over. War, all over the place. And we've seen it with the US the last, 30, well, I mean, for a long time, long time. But if you go against the system, Gaddafi, yeah, I'm trying to think, Saddam Hussein.
Saddam
Yeah,
Hussein, yeah.
exactly. I mean, you see, if you leave the network, that makes the network weaker. And no one, and then internally, domestically, what do? We track everyone. Yes, now it used to be $10,000. Now it's $600. It's this the room keeps closing in on you if you dare leave the network, because it's the only way. I mean, who in their right mind would choose to use a money that steals from them? No human being on earth would choose to do that unless they were coerced to do it. And there's just coercion everywhere. So when you take it to its logical end conclusion, what's actually happening, this is why I've been thinking about this for years. And this is why, Rajat, you just said that as well. Because when you keep backing it like into more and more micro, like just your daily basis, you're kind of looking around. And even though the guy on the street is not, he's not saying you should use the dollar because it's going to make mine weaker if you leave the network. He's dangerous in a different way. I mean, they're similar. It's a similar way, but he's dangerous in the sense of he's like mad. It's this ego and pride thing. So now we get to the very microest of level, the most micro level, and it's just people mad at you. Look, we've seen the articles. Bitcoiners are psychopaths. Hey, they're to blame. They took down the system, and that's kind of what it just doesn't get talked about very much because this is obviously a very polarizing issue. But I think it's going to come more. I think this talk's going to start happening more. I guess maybe let's just say that.
It's like what Jor said. We were having a conversation about this, and Jor's like, all he had to say was vote harder. And when I listened to it, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what he said.
Literally.
That's what he's saying.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead, Jor.
I was just going to say, like, look back at history. Look how many examples in history of people going against the grain and what ended up to them. The cool thing about what we got going here with Bitcoin that gives me a lot of hope is that we're multiplying. Like, it's an idea now. It's an idea that can't be stopped. It won't be stopped. And it's really only a matter of time. And that's going to be the real interesting thing to me, because Mike's big thing was like, we need to educate more people. Okay, well, that's a good point, because the reason why this system that we all despise so much, the system that's stolen from every single one of us in many ways, the reason why that system has been allowed to continue is because they've kept everything in the dark. Like up until 10 years ago, hardly anybody knew any of this stuff. Like they didn't know what a fiat dollar was. They didn't know about Jekyll Island. They didn't know about the Federal Reserve. Like really, central banks, nobody knew any of this stuff. And so now we have this. Yeah, I mean, that was a big part of it.
Definitely since then. Yeah, for sure.
And
yeah,
so
I mean, like no one said fiat.
Now where,
yeah.
I was just going to say, like, we're at the point now where people have this information. People are seeing it. And so like, it's interesting to me what happens next. It's obvious that nobody's going to do anything when nobody knows there's a problem. But now that people know that there's a problem, what happens now? And that system is going to work as hard as it possibly can to try to make us look like the crazy ones, to fight against us, to get people from that system who are still in the dark to be mad at us. But I think that we're going to win this, because you cannot stop an idea like this.
No.
And it's, nothing's going to stop what's coming here. It's just how long, I guess.
Yeah.
That's it.
I wanna we got sidetracked really quickly.
We started with Stretch.
I know.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about Stretch a second ago.
we just did a 46-minute long intro to the whole topic.
Oh boy.
And I literally just took that topic today because I thought like it might fit nicely, because today is the earnings call, and I'm super excited about it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they have been up to, and that what kind of the things are and what they're developing. How do you guys actually look at now that it has been around since, I don't know, 8 months, 9 months, the Stretch product? How do you look at strategy, and what are you kind of expecting from, I don't know, do you guys think about what you're kind of expecting from an earnings call? Like, do you like have thoughts before going in to see kind of like what they might do?
I don't like listening to earnings calls. I'd rather just buy Bitcoin, right? And like afterwards, just try to see like if there's, because I don't buy stocks, right? I don't really care to buy. The only stock that I own is MicroStrategy, but even then, I don't want to listen to earnings calls. That was one of the reasons why I didn't want to own stocks, right? And that's one of the reasons why I left my job in finance. I don't like doing that kind of stuff. I don't like reading about numbers. I'd rather like watch. I'd rather listen to a podcast,
Yep.
right, and learn something that's because an earnings call is temporary, right? It's gonna be the information in it is not gonna last forever. It's almost just like sensationalism to me. I would rather listen to somebody who makes a podcast about the earnings call and they say, hey, this is the long term implication. This is where I believe things are going. I find that more valuable. Do you guys listen? Do you guys actually like listening to those earnings calls from Strategy?
I
I
like
used to.
earnings call in general. I might
In general,
be a
okay.
little weirdly linked like that, but I come from picking stocks. So like before Bitcoin, all I did is picking stocks, and
Mm.
it is a part-time job, but I loved it. It was I'm weird with that. I might be one of the few people that actually enjoys doing that, and I missed it a little bit with Bitcoin because there's no earnings call with Bitcoin, and podcasts were actually the closest things to our earnings call because we are just talking about Bitcoin and how what kind of has happened, why the fundamentals, all of those things. And so I didn't had an earnings call for almost 6 years. Like,
Oh,
yeah, like 2020, no,
Robin's
2021.
itching.
I
He's
sold-
like, I need
Yeah,
an earnings call. I need
I need,
that.
I want to listen to the earnings call. Like, I want to judge the management team. I want to see what they're doing. Like, I had a season where I had like 5 to 7 stocks in my portfolio usually, and I listened to all the earnings call, and it was like earnings season. And I hated when like 2 earnings call were like on top of each other because then like I had to listen to it afterwards. Man, I love that shit.
You are a psychopath.
I am a psychopath. Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. Damn. That's, yeah. So, I mean, I used to like jump on, I'd watch some earning calls back in the day, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I guess it was what, 8 to 10 years ago, whenever I really started grokking Bitcoin. That's when, because I was having issues with the real estate business I was in, just investing in gold and silver, in stocks, stuff like that, where I was just like, this is just nonsensical. Like the amount of, part of the reason I came to Bitcoin was because of like Rajat, what you just said, like, I don't have to do that. And that's where I looked around and I was like, if I'm having to do all of this work, how the hell is the average guy going to do any of this? Which they aren't, and they won't, So, and that's one of the reasons I came to Bitcoin. So yes, do I listen to earnings calls anymore? I think I've listened to one of Strategies, one or a couple in the last few years, but that's it. And that's it at all. And just to kind of see what they're doing to that point, Robin. So like, that's kind of the grand like thing where I came from, coming from those worlds and doing much more of that and like doing it because I needed to do it. I'm also a numbers guy, but I needed to do it in the fiat world, but didn't want to do it actually. So I was okay doing it because I'm a numbers guy. But all that being said, I think the other question is too, that I'll throw out there as well, that we can kind of bat around is, someone mentioned it earlier, what other things will a strategy build, like vertically integrate, build themselves, acquire? That to me, the Warren Buffett snowball, all this stuff, right? That to me is fascinating. And I would love to know, so to, maybe to Robin or, you guys that have listened to it before, what they're doing. Because I know like 21, Jack Mallers, those guys, Tether, they've mentioned things like that. We're going to build Bitcoin products, tools, etc. Jack Dorsey style, because I've been waiting for that. Like, that's the thing I've been waiting for, to see other massive entrepreneurs. I think it's coming in the next 5 or 10 years from people like us, like the plebs that have been in the last 5 or 10 years. I think that we're going to get to a point where that wealth hits a certain saturation level, where there's enough plebs with enough amount of wealth where they go ham and they just start building goods and services. I think that's coming, but I think that's still 5 to 10 years away. But this crop of people that already are 100 millionaires in USD terms and above, I've been waiting for that. Now there's not as many of those people, so it's a smaller crop to pick from. And so Strategy, 21, Capital, a handful of these guys, that to me is the killer app. That to me is the interesting thing. So I would do it, Robin, just to see like, hey, when are you guys going to build stuff? When are people going to be building things? So to me, it's interesting in that regard.
I think he's been asked that recently, and they just keep saying like they're focused on digital credit, which is STRC.
Mm-hmm.
STRC, amazing product. Probably, I like to say revolutionary because it is just the way that they designed. And I see BitBilly in the chat saying utilizing AI to build that way. Brilliant. Like, there's not many people who have come out and said, as a CEO of a public company, hey, AI built this product for us. Pretty cool.
Wild.
But I mean, at the same time, it's like first principles, you back with Bitcoin, it's going to succeed, right? Like that's that's where we are right now. So I made a video last week and I basically called STRC holders stupid. And there was a lot of negative comments in my section, as you would imagine. I didn't really mean it that way. It was kind of taken out of context. I said, like, there's a certain place for it. Definitely retirees who have money in a money mart makes way more sense. But I think that the biggest beneficiaries of STRC aren't going to be the people getting 11.5%. It's going to be people who are holding Bitcoin in self-custody, because they're going to get the unlimited upside of it and the unlimited freedom of it, where you're not trusting anybody. You don't need anybody's permission with it. You can go anywhere on this planet with it. Meanwhile, you have constant demand from Saylor because the rest of the market hasn't figured out how important self-custody Bitcoin is yet, and they're playing the fiat games. So it's one of those things where it's a super interesting, probably the most innovative product in history, how it's built, how it's designed, and how useful it is. Really, like it's
Total
selling
blue
itself.
ocean. Yeah.
Like there's no competition to it right now.
Yeah. How about that chart he just shared last week or whatever it was? Like all the preferreds, it's just like,
yeah, it's like it's a joke.
Everyone else is like, you can't even see it. It's hilarious.
It's a joke. So
it's a joke.
It's a very easy product to access. You don't have to watch 100 hours of YouTube videos to try to figure out how to hold it. You can still beat the market, but at the same time, it's all funneling to Bitcoiners, self-custody Bitcoiners. I think MSTR holders too are kind of left out of this right now, but they're going to see huge implications of it in the future. And that's kind of what Saylor said. It's like Saylor takes a lot of shit from people, but during that presentation that he gave at Vegas, he basically said, if you got 6 months, I think 6 to 12 months where you need that capital, STRC makes a lot of sense.
Yep. It's time.
If you
It's
got
all
a
time
10-year
horizons.
plus time horizon, Bitcoin in self-custody, own the asset, own the commodity.
Yes.
And he said, if you want to kind of boost that and juice that up a little bit, then you hold MSTR, you hold the equity. Yep. So he's not trying to trick anybody here. I think that's what people are missing, right?
Time
so that
horizons.
was my takeaway from it.
He's trying to build a yield curve, right? Where as your time horizon gets longer, you get more of a return. You're going to get more volatility. But if your time horizon is short, you're going to get a smaller, more fixed return, and you're not going to face volatility. That's what he created, right? And all the preferred instruments that they created are a result of that.
Yep, 100%.
You guys hold any stretch?
No.
I do not. So I have a tiny, small fraction of my portfolio in MicroStrategy because my wife had an old existing, retirement thing from an old job that she, whatever, like got stranded. So whenever it was, I don't know, years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I put it into MicroStrategy at that time. And it just sits there. I don't even check it, to be quite honest. I literally don't even check it. It's just been growing, but I don't check it over the years. I have an idea of where it's at, type of thing, but I had to find the login. I guess maybe I got to find the login. I don't check it that way. Literally,
you forgot your MSTR password.
Literally, I have to go look it up. The other question I want to throw at you guys though is, because this is the other interesting thing, is for a stretch, when do they start feeling a pinch? Because at some point, whether it's a year from now or a couple of years from now, if this keeps up, you would imagine the banks are going to feel they're going to get hit at some point with deposit flight out of the banking system. I mean, where in your guys' mind, like when do you think that happens? Because that to me is like when the rubber really meets the road. Because if you have 11.5% and there's nothing even really close to that, I mean, what is there anything even close to that right now out there? That's so. That to me is good, because again, right now people don't even know. I mean, I was mentioning this to somebody yesterday that one of my family members, whatever extended family members, they're finance bro, whatever, and he didn't even know what strategy was. And so it just shows you how early we are in all of this, And so, and I have another Wall Street family member who didn't even 2 years ago was just completely oblivious to Bitcoin in general, and private equity guy, Wall Street bro, 40 something year old, type of thing. So that to me is interesting. So I love your guys' thoughts on just if you thought of that at all, because that to me is when the rubber really starts meeting the road and the banks are getting hurt by capital flight out of that into stretch.
I think it's just a matter of time. Like I said, it's kind of selling itself right now.
Yeah.
Like it's going to spread. I feel like every holiday you have like that and every kind of event, they only happen certain times every year.
Right.
But like Thanksgivings, the Christmases, somebody's like, hey, I'm getting 11.5%. I'm not paying a financial advisor anymore. And somebody's sitting there at the table. They're like, what? Last year I got 4% and I paid a 2% fee to my advisor. Like, what's going on? So I think the product sells itself. In terms of the banks, though, I think they're shitting their pants right now.
Yeah,
I really do. But that's the whole thing. It's like these last 5 years, while Sailor's been accumulating,
just hate
that was
to
like
see it.
that was like the what had to be done. And it's like nobody's going to come close. Brandon, you mentioned the percentage there. Nobody's going to come close to that rate because they're not going to come close to the Bitcoin. Like no other entity on this planet, U.S. government, the UAE, Russia, China, nobody's going to catch strategy. And so if this does play out the way we expect it to, they're the ones holding the cards. As long as they can keep that secure, I guess that's another question, and where it is. But if they actually have the Bitcoin and they figure out, I kind of mentioned that too in the video. I said like, okay, they built this product. It's doing very well. They're promoting it. Now they need to like figure out how they're going to secure that capital, because you can't be trusting Coinbase and Fidelity and all these different institutions to hold it for you. You need to build that fortress around your company where nobody can attack you. Nobody can rug you. Nobody can subpoena you. It has to be spread out, and Bitcoin allows for that, which is really cool.
Do you think proof of reserves? We got into this yesterday, I think in the Bitcast or something like that. But like proof of reserves, like, do you guys think that's holding Stretch back, and like even Strategy? Like, is there a chance that that's holding it back even more? Where people, like some people would come in, or a lot of people might be waiting. We're like, do you have it? Because that's a very big thing with Bitcoin, obviously. And if we know where it's there, people might be even more inclined, obviously, whether it's Bitcoiners or normies or whoever.
I don't think so, because I feel like the people who want Stretch, they don't care about that.
They don't care at all. Yeah.
I don't think they care about the features and benefits of Bitcoin. I think all they care about is the 11.5%. And that's what Jor was saying. I think that's what makes it such a perfect product. They don't need to care about Bitcoin's features and benefits. They don't need to care about proof of reserves. They don't need to. They don't even know what Bitcoin is.
Right. True.
I mean, ideally they should. I would hope that they figure it out, and they would probably be better off holding Bitcoin. But it's just another way to like the other people's money strategy, right? When you hear people talking about how they invest in real estate, they buy real estate with other people's money, and that's what Strategy is doing. It's just buying Bitcoin with other people's money, and it's buying that Bitcoin from using money from people who don't understand Bitcoin, and that's the asymmetrical advantage for MSTR holders.
You know what? And that's what a bank is. That's what Warren Buffett did.
Right.
We've been talking about banks. We've been talking about Warren Buffett. What did they do? Banks raise money. You give a deposit and you become a money lender. You now lent the bank your money and they go invest it for you, because you're basically saying, I don't know what the hell to do with my money. So here, you go do it. And that's what Warren Buffett did. He raised money. He took other people's money and then he invested it because he was better at it than you were, or he at least, people thought he was, or whatever. So that's the whole system. And we always talk about like, is Sailor a bank? Well, he is technically, right? Or like he's this thing. I mean, I don't know what you want to call him, but he's doing what Buffett did. He's doing what banks do and just taking your money, saying I'm a better allocator. And he's just turning around and buying Bitcoin with it. That's all he's doing.
And like when REITs do this, like when REITs borrow money from a bank and they buy real estate and they share the profits with you, nobody has a problem with that. But they have a problem with people doing that with Bitcoin because they don't understand what Bitcoin is. That's the key reason. They do it. They're so concerned with it because they don't understand Bitcoin. And once they figure out what Bitcoin is, I mean, at that point, I don't know. It'll probably like the average person won't figure out Bitcoin until it's like $10 million.
Right.
It's also their environment though, too. Going back to what we were talking about. It's not that they need to spend time in Bitcoin. They've just been so ingrained in that environment, which is real estate is good. Banks are good. Governments are trustworthy. Like that's the environment. That's how most people think. Right. And so I don't know, kind of on the proof of reserves, my take is like, I've been very vocal on YouTube for the last couple of years of like, where's the Bitcoin? Where's the Bitcoin? Prove it. You got this much Bitcoin, prove it. It's easy to send out a tweet and say, hey, I have this much Bitcoin, this cost base.
Right.
Where is it? But I was kind of thinking like selfishly for me, for somebody who actually understands the importance of holding you know, in self-custody or otherwise, but showing that and verifying as a Bitcoiner. But I don't think Saylor really cares about people like me, because somebody like me, I don't trust people. So therefore I'm in Bitcoin, I'm holding the asset.